What is up, everybody? It's been a minute since I've done a game store tour. It's been a minute, and this is going to be a very special game store tour, and we'll explain why in a second. Let's just put it this way. I've never toured a game store like this before. But first, what is your name, good sir?
My name is Ryan, and I'm the owner of Retro Swap Shop Video Games in Crestview, Florida.
Crestview, Florida. And what is unique about this game store that I was alluding to just now?
I'd say the most unique thing is that it is inside of my garage at my house.
Yep, we are literally in this man's garage right now, and he converted the whole thing into a game store, and I've already taken a look around at everything, and it is freaking awesome.
This is the front door. As soon as you walk in, first thing you're hit with is this big display case full of Nintendo, NES at the top, all the way down to Wii at the bottom. And yeah, it's just in-box stuff, cartridges. Really, this is one of the biggest things in the store as far as quality goes and product and things. Some of the big hitters that people really like, the nostalgic NES games, Super Nintendo games and everything. People really enjoy looking in this case. So this is really why we put it next to the front door, because people remember Nintendo from the 90s, from the 80s and 90s. People remember Nintendo, and they really like walking in and seeing this, things people haven't seen in like 20 years. That's mainly what we have in here: games, in-box, loose, consoles, all that stuff. And because, once again, it is inside of my garage, we have really, really tight space. We make a lot of do with it because of that reason. So in the Nintendo case, you can see PS5 stuff for literally no reason at all, except for we have no space.
Also, I couldn't help but notice the beautiful PlayStation sign you have up here.
Yeah, so this PlayStation sign is honestly a really, really short story on it. We were at a convention, and I can't tell you the name of it, but there was just a guy there selling it. Walked up, made him a really nice cash offer, and he accepted. He said it was in his game store for 20 years.
Wow.
So he had it in his game store for 20 years, and it was on, and you can tell because we have a really nice bubble right here from the awesome lights in the back.
Wow.
But you know, it's for sale, but I'll be sad to see it go the day it does, because it's a really cool sign.
It is.
So, as we approach this way, a little non-video game section right here. So the case right up front is going to be our Pokemon card section. We just started doing Pokemon cards within the last year and a half, and they've just gone absolutely nuts. We started with literally 0 cards, and today, right now, we're probably sitting on right around 3,000 cards.
It's a lot of cards.
It is a lot of cards. Just buying them, selling them, trading them. We do cards that are $1 all the way up to cards that can be hundreds of dollars. And all of this right here is just cards ranging from $3 to $19. Right next to the Pokemon case is going to be handhelds and Switch. Probably my second favorite case in the entire store, just because of the nostalgia portion of it. This is really, really hot for our store, and I love this case. This is an awesome case. We got like vintage Pokemon games in, Mario games, all the really, really good stuff. Something else that is in this case that you're not going to see a lot of right now is we do handheld mods. So we do them in shop. We do original Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Advances, everything. And of course we have, in-box Switches, loose Switches, and a ton of Switch games. All the stuff in the cases is going to be $20 and up, just the more sought after things that people are looking for, and sealed products. And so we kind of set the store up in a very specific way. I'll try and step out of the way a little bit so he can see a little bit. But we set the store up in a specific way where I try and stack the consoles in age, basically. So right here up top, we're going to have, NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, in-box NES, the Japanese version, some Famicom stuff, and just accessories and different things like that is what's here. These are going to be your common titles, some really, really good sellers for us, Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt, which who doesn't remember that game? Just fantastic stuff that people constantly come in here and want to relive their childhood. We love selling to people like that, people that haven't played video games in 15, 20 years. We love the collectors and all that stuff too. Like, that stuff's great, but it's really cool to see somebody just light up when they come into the store and they haven't thought about these games since they were kids.
That's a good point. So how often do you have people that come in and they're like, whoa, I haven't seen this in years. Whoa, do you remember this? Does that actually happen a pretty good bit?
Believe it or not, it happens basically weekly. Like I said, if we keep going down, we basically stage the store each wall to be like the age of the console. So we've got the 80s is where we start, and now we're breaking into the 90s. So
I love that.
Here is going to be, you know, Super Nintendo loose games that these are all going to be $19 and less on these shelves. So everything out here is loose here, and then way down at the bottom is going to be our 3 shelves of N64 games. There are going to be some Super Nintendo games in box out here that are just cheaper, nothing too crazy expensive. We still put everything inside of a protector. One of our biggest things is preservation of these old games. They're just not making this stuff anymore. We all know that, and this stuff just needs to be protected. It's got to be preserved.
Yeah, and the cardboard boxes are very fragile.
They're very fragile, and a lot of them have already been damaged, you know, to this point. All of our price stickers will never be on the label. We always put them in a spot on these games, on the protectors for these in-box games, on the actual protectors, never on the cardboard. We're really serious, like I said, about preservation of these games.
Yeah.
They're not making them anymore. We're big supporters of like preserving this stuff and making sure that if it is damaged now, that's where it stops, at least when it comes in here. Down here is obviously going to be our loose N64 games also. This one's kind of low to the ground. Again, we make the use of our space. Anywhere that we can fit, you know, a video game in, a new shelf, a display case, something, we fit it in. And we put everything out here, even, you know, some rare and harder to find items like this.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, the N64, the glove in the box, which is super cool just to see. Again, just age of the console. So we went Super Nintendo N64, jumping right into GameCube. GameCube's super hot, has been for years now.
Oh, trust me, I know.
And, you know, so our GameCube section is going to be one of our smallest sections. Not because we don't get it in, because it sells so fast. It's super popular.
Well,
I collect for GameCube also, so, you know, I might pick a little bit here and there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I go to a lot of game stores. I do a lot of these types of videos, and your selection of GameCube games is bigger than most of the game stores that I see. Between this and what you have in the glass case over there, you have more GameCube games than most of the stores.
Wow, that's surprising.
So you've got a pretty solid selection, and really good titles too.
The Wii section is rather large. We all know that that Wii does have a lot of shovelware that came with it, and
a lot of hidden gems though.
There's a lot of hidden gems. There's some really good games on the Wii. There's some really bad ones too.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of that. Believe it or not, people still love it. It's a family console. People love that, and we saw a lot of that stuff. After Wii U, of course, released was the Nintendo Switch. Again, this is going to be like all the games that are like $19 and down. More expensive stuff will always be locked up in the cases, but you know, just anything Switch related. So travel cases, just these custom 3D printed Nintendo Switch stands that we've made. You know, we like doing little fun projects like this. And moving on,
What is that?
That is a really interesting item right there. Okay, so that is a Sega IR7000.
What the heck?
Which is actually, believe it or not, it's a calculator.
Really?
That Sega put out in the day.
What?
So we can pull it out.
Dude, that is super cool.
Take it out of Sonic's hands here. So
whoa.
if the battery hasn't died since I replaced it. I've had this for a couple of years.
And nobody's bought that?
Nobody's bought
Why?
it. Very interesting. So it's in good shape overall. It's got this little clip at the bottom.
Dude.
So basically you flip this open. And it's just regular, you know, AAA batteries in there. But you turn it on, if it'll come on. So the batteries are dead. We'll replace them in a minute.
Looks like it has maybe has some games on it?
It does actually. So it's got a bunch of like mathematical and different types of games and some print games. Here's one of the coolest things about it. If you look right here at the top, so this is like an IR laser, right?
Yeah.
Just like an old TV remote or something. So if your friend had a Sega IR7000 also, you could actually point these at each other and play a game called Brainstorm.
What?
And you could solve mathematical equations back and forth, and whoever was faster would beat the game, basically be the winner.
That's
and that's what this is. Yeah, it's a Sega calculator, one of the weirdest items. This section right here is I'm sure you can tell, a custom built bookshelf, or I guess game shelf. So what we did is we made all these shelves the same height. So this is very versatile for us. If we wanted to take any kind of like PS2 or 360 or Wii games, those cases that are that tall, they'll fit perfectly in here. So if we decide, because you know we don't have a lot of space in the garage, if we want to put this somewhere else, we can use it for those games, and we're not tied down to just one console. So inbox Sega, loose Sega, you know, the cheap stuff. and then we go straight into PlayStation. So PSP games, we just had these pieces of plexiglass cut, built our own little hinges on here and put little eyelets and just lock it up. And this is always really, really hot handhelds. People are always buying PSPs. This is probably the oldest thing in the entire store, which is a Magnavox Odyssey 1 that came out in 1974 is when that was released. So that's probably the oldest thing out here. Really odd item. You know, 360 has really gotten crazy for us in the last couple of years. Them shutting the store down just got nuts. I've always purchased 360 games, and it seems like no one ever brings 1 or 2 in. People always bring 30, 40, 50, 360 games in at a time. And we've always bought them and just kind of backstocked them. And it turned out to be a really good purchase for us, because this has become a really hot section for us. And a lot of people buy this. And we love it, you know. Xbox One, 360, OG Xbox is a little light, but we love that kind of stuff. Special edition consoles, even, you know, the Halo special edition consoles, we love that kind of stuff. PS1 all the way up to PS5, again, cheaper titles, $19 and down, still fantastic games. Original, you know, God of War games, or God of War 2, I should say.
Classic.
Fantastic games in there. And, you know, Spyros and stuff. We have tons of people that come in here again, and they just want to relive their childhood. And they can come in here, they can grab some of their childhood favorites, they can get their old PS2 console, you know, and that's just a big portion of what we do here. Some of the more collector games, rare items, that kind of stuff. All PS1 at the top, really cool stuff in there. And every once in a while you'll poke in here and you'll see a game that isn't English. You know, we got a Silent Hill 1 Japanese right there. Tons of PS2 games, always really popular. We probably open this case 10 times a day. People are always looking for, you know, PS2 titles, big collectors for that. And then up top, just plushies. You know, plushies do really good for us. We just keep the shelf stocked on this. We don't do a ton of that kind of stuff. You know, we keep it stocked. We like this kind of stuff. People come in, they buy it, but you know, our main draw is video games, consoles, controllers, accessories. You know, we stick to what it's about. We love the collectibles, but we make sure we keep it, you know, 10% of the store, somewhere in that range, not most of it, because we want to bring people video games. Moving on down to our next Sony display case here. PS3 at the top, PS4 and PS5. Really cool stuff in here too. Great titles, again. A lot of people come in and get this stuff for collections or just to play, and we love this kind of stuff. And I always like keeping just weird oddity things in here, you know, like Dinky the T-Rex right there. 800 of them made. Never seen it before in my life till I walked in the door. So in here is a hodgepodge, okay? So this is like if a video game store had a junk drawer, this is probably what it would be. So we just kind of smash everything in here. You know, we start right here and it's just keychains, just random keychains put in here. Some of these are, you know, newer stuff. Some of it is vintage, Fallout stuff. Strategy guides, there's gonna be like Nintendo Powers and stuff mixed in here. This entire book is gonna be full of DS and 3DS games. Most of these are $10 and less. This right here is the only arcade one-up that I would allow in the store. And no offense to Arcade 1-Up, but this is the only one because it's
cool,
weird and odd, and it's a giant joystick, and it actually works as a joystick.
I've only ever seen one of those once, and it was at some friends of mine. They have another YouTube channel, Do You Nerd on YouTube. Went to their house and they had one of those.
Above that is something that almost no one knows exists, unless you've been doing video games and collecting for quite a while, which is the Nintendo Game Boy sewing machine. This is the Japanese model, which they partnered with Jaguar back in the day. And if you know anything about it, it's an interesting system. So there's actually a link cable that comes out of the back of the Super Nintendo, plugs into a Game Boy. It has a sewing cartridge that you put in the back, and you actually go through and you can select certain patterns and sew those patterns through the sewing machine just by running whatever fabric, t-shirts, jeans, whatever you want through it. One of my favorite things to collect for and in the store is the Nintendo Virtual Boy, which is not a console that you see very often. Definitely don't see a lot of games for it, so I'm constantly buying Virtual Boys games wherever I can. And then if we jump over here, this shelf is kind of collectible figures, some more strategy guides, just a bunch of kind of randomness, I guess.
Yeah, your selection in this small space is pretty impressive. And what you've managed to fit in here is pretty impressive. So I absolutely love this game store. Absolutely love it. It makes me mad that I don't live in the area and that I live 7 hours away. However, I come down here every year for Really Rad Weekend.
Oh yeah.
Remind everybody where they can find this store and the name of it one more time.
It's Retro Swap Shop, and it's in Crestview, Florida. So when you hear Florida, you might think south, but we're right up in the Panhandle, so real north in Florida, almost lower Alabama.
Yeah, very true, very true. Well, thank you so much for giving us a tour of the store. I'm going to walk around and see what kind of stuff that I can buy for the old collection. And I'm already seeing a lot of cool stuff that's catching my eye. So you're going to get a little bit of money from me today.
All right, cool. I love it.
Appreciate you, man. You guys come check out Retro Swap Shop. Always got to check the GameCube section, and these are all of the more kind of high-end GameCube games. Now, the unfortunate thing is, with me being down to just 22 GameCube games left, again, it's really hard for me to find games that I need. Ryan only has one game in his inventory here that I need for the collection, and that is Go-Go Hyper Grind. Unfortunately, I'm not ready to buy Go-Go Hyper Grind. It's a little out of my price range at the moment. Walking over here, I do want to scope out some of the PS2 games because of course I am going for a complete PS2 set like a madman. So I want to grab at least one PS2 game, but I want to grab something that I would actually want to play. I want to get something that I would actually want to play. Let's see here. Psyops is a really good game, and I've actually never been able to play Psyops. Oh man, that disc is beautiful. Look at that disc. My God, that disc is beautiful. The games here in this game store are just super clean. Super clean, really nice condition. So for those of you who don't know, I talk about Goodiez all the time. Video game app for buying and selling, but you can also use it to check price charting prices really quickly, and there's two different ways that you can do it. So I'm interested in getting Psyops, the Mindgate Conspiracy, and so there's two ways you can do it, okay? You click the search bar, you click title, and you can either type in the game or you could do a quick barcode scan. So I'm gonna do a quick barcode scan, and there it is right there. So price charting's got it CIB at around 1881. However, first off, not only is his sticker price beating the price charting CIB price by over $2, which is really awesome, Ryan, but this copy is in phenomenal condition, absolutely phenomenal condition. All right, so another game that's catching my eye is Rayman on the Game Boy Color. Absolutely fantastic game. And I'm not even gonna check the price on this one because it's in great condition, and $18 just sounds like a great price. So we're gonna add that to the pile. So Ryan, there's a couple of things here in the case that are catching my eye that I'm very interested in, and that is this Game Boy watch and this VHS tape right here. Do you mind if I take a look at those?
Absolutely. That's a pricey one.
Woo!
So something else that we do in our store,
$350.
yeah, all that kind of stuff is, so we always price check. So we just price check like the really expensive and like rare items. So this one right here, these sealed Game Boy watches are like really rare for like that exact style and stuff.
The invasion of Nintendo. Oh man, look at that. Look at that. Super clean too. So it looks like it was a Nintendo Power exclusive. I'm not sure if it came with a magazine or if it was a mail-in.
I think it was a mail-in order.
Yeah.
I've never been able to find the advertisement for it.
Yeah.
But from what I saw online, I think it was just like a mail-in only. You could purchase it.
Wow. I'm definitely gonna grab that. You had something that you grabbed for me that we talked about in the past though.
I did, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know you like Tiger stuff.
I do.
So I have been holding
and I love Nintendo
some
stuff.
Really interesting Tiger game item.
Look at that. So for those of you who don't know, apparently Tiger partnered with Nintendo at one point, got the Nintendo license, and was able to put out a Nintendo licensed game. Now this is not an LCD game like they usually come out with, and it's not electronic at all. It's all just physics based and like mechanical.
Total mechanical. Yeah.
So how does this game work? You're trying to like get them to climb the ladder, right? Like
exactly.
This?
Yeah. So it's a 2-player game. Handles on the sides, and it's very tricky to figure out exactly. Basically, you just go through.
There's a rhythm to it.
And there's a rhythm to it. And Mario and Luigi have their own cutouts, and you kind of just go through and so you can figure it out. You're obviously a lot better at this than I am, and I'm not good at it. It's a complicated game.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a rhythm to it.
Yeah, it's super weird. So this is the Mario Bros. Ladder race.
I love it. So yeah, we're gonna grab this guy too. We're gonna add that to the pile. Now, another thing I'm very interested in that we talked about earlier is this Sega IR 7000. I believe I'm gonna be the person that finally buys it, dude.
The person.
Because I love weird stuff
Before
like
you
this.
do, what we need to do is throw some new batteries in it.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that it
Yeah.
works.
Okay.
But I guarantee that it does.
I mean, it looks like it's in beautiful condition, man. Like
awesome
yeah.
piece right here.
So cool. So
it's
cool.
such an oddball, but I love it.
All right, man. And then there's a couple more things. Catching my eye. Not in a glass case, but I'm gonna add this guy to the pile here.
For sure, man.
So you know, as I've told you many times, I love anything vintage Nintendo. So as soon as I saw this Mario teaches typing, I knew that had to be mine, and I just want to take a look at the innards here. It's in great condition too, man.
It is.
And
Somebody really took care of it.
And I think that I have the sequel to it actually. So look at that. Floppy disks. For those of you watching, some of you may not know what a floppy disk is, but it's a thing that we grew up with. And then this guy right here, dude, I've never seen this before, ever. And it's beautiful.
That's a weird one. So the only thing about this is I have a really hard time with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Throwing it in the trash. Like I said,
yeah.
preservation.
Gotta
so this is very much not complete.
Oh,
and
that's fine.
we always tell people about stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a graphic. This is a box.
This is
a book.
amazing.
What's left is the paint.
Okay.
So we have the paint in here. Everything
Gotcha.
else, you know, unfortunately, which honestly, somebody used it. Somebody loved it. Somebody had a good time with it. Paint's still in there. But it's just a really cool item.
It
You know what I
is.
mean? Just something weird, old Mario.
It
Like,
is.
you gotta love it. Old Zelda plug at the bottom.
Yeah, so
That's a
cool,
really
dude.
cool item,
So
yeah.
cool. This stuff is just, man, I go crazy for this kind of stuff, man. You got to come check out Retro Swap Shop in Crestview, Florida. Ryan's got an amazing store, awesome inventory, great prices, high quality, clean inventory without stickers in annoying places. And this is one of my favorite game stores I've been to in a long time. No
Well,
joke.
thank you.
No
Yeah, I
joke.
really appreciate that.
So, dude, thank you for letting me come in here
Absolutely.
and film a tour of your game store.